Okay, so today I'm going to talk about substrates, which is what goes underneath the painting on a fresco. So this is a fresco, which is 2 layers of plaster. Oricio is the first, Intonico is the second, and it's on a piece of tile that I just got at a big box store. When you lay your final layer of the Intonico, you do need to let it set up, and then about an hour, and then you can start painting. And this is painting for about 5 hours and really building up the surface. So to actually get to that point, one way to do that, and probably the simplest, is the tile. This is a piece of tile, and it's rough on this side. This has been the finished side that looks like some marble. This is what I would paint on. And this piece is a piece of tile with the one layer. This is the Oricio layer. You can kind of get a sense of how rough that is, and that is the very coarse sand, torpedo sand, troweled on to the ceramic tile, and then running a wood float over it to smooth it, to make it not wavy, but flat, but still textured. Now this is an example of the wood base. This is a piece of wood that has metal lath on it, and I cut the lath very close to the edge. I want it as close to the edge as possible, and at a future video I'll show you how to attach that using staples, and you want it very close. This is an example of that I did in the very long time ago, in 40 some years ago, and I am going to actually work on this, but it was intentional in that I used this to make it look like a piece of fabric, and I wanted to see what was behind, but it's also very instructional in that you can see the wood, the lath, and this has 2 layers of plaster on it, and it is actually a base layer of Oricio and a second layer of Oricio. It's still the rough layer. All of these still just have the rough layer on it. What I've come to do now is finish my edges off really beautifully, and you can get an idea here. This is the wood. There is the metal lath here, but you can't see it at all because of my better job of doing the edges. And again, I use my detail palette knife to make those nice edges. So this is a future project here, all on wood panel that has the metal lath that you can't see and beveled edges. And again, we have the Oricio, which is a rough layer. This is, you can see it a little bit more. Probably didn't do a good job finishing that. The tool that I use to cut the metal lath is this, which is a tin snips. I have best luck with that. You can also use these. This is the last version of a substrate, and it's really looking at contemporary practices. This is a piece of foam, construction foam, with the netting on it. The netting, this fibrous netting, it's fiberglass netting, I believe, or nylon, replaces the metal lath. And you can see the staples here, and there are 2 layers. There's the foam, the netting, and then you can see one layer that has Oricio. It's the scratch coat is what it's called, and it actually has Portland cement. You can see that it's a little grayer, and this is the Oricio layer, which has sand, heavy duty sand, or large or coarse sand on it, and you can kind of get a sense of the texture of that. So those are examples of 3 different substrates. That's tile, wood, and fiber. And this is what the backs of my wood pieces look like. I put a metal frame on them, and you can see I used nailed staples to hold that in. So we have ceramic, we have wood, and ceramic, and that is foam. And in a future video, I will show you how to attach the metal lath. Now you can use metal lath if you see these walls. This is an old school building, and they are it's cement with just 2 layers of plaster. One of my dreams is to go ahead and take off some of this plaster and do a final layer of painting on them the way that maybe they would have done in the early 20th century instead of just putting paint on top of it. But that's for a future video.